first hobby I ever had in my life was reading. Reading segues into my hobby. These are travel books, geography books, tourist books, history books about places. Travel is my passion. I've been to 8 continents because Zealandia is now determined to be a continent. My wife and I went to Antarctica. In China, we've been to Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Macau, Qingdao, various other places. We've climbed Qingtao Mountain, which is one of the 4 sacred mountains of China. We've been in other Asian places, Singapore, Cambodia. In South America, we went to Machu Picchu to take a boat literally up the Amazon River for 7 days. No Wi-Fi, no cell phone, no satellite. And then we spent the next week congratulating ourselves on the beach of Copacabana, which was much better. All over Europe. One of my favorite places there was Prague. Paris, I love. My wife, not so much. Over to the right, I have a chart of Ireland. We've been there twice. Ireland is probably one of my favorite places in the world. My mother came from Ireland. Knowing my mother's stories about Ireland, going to Ireland, seeing them become real for me was a special treat. Plus, I love the castles of Ireland better than I do the castles of England. I tell stories. I've told stories all my life. I kept diaries, and in the diaries I wrote poems. I'm kind of a hoarder in the sense that I kept all my writings that I could, and I'm still going back and finding poems when I was a teenager. And I think, I'm not that person, but I like that person. A lot of my poems I've put on a website. It's called Poems and Quotes, but some of them I've published. These are 2 poetry books that I've written. This one is Don't Let a Blue Moon Eclipse Your Heart. And it's filled with poems, including one form that I invented called the Cintuit. People don't understand haiku and senryu, so I developed the Cintuit to allow people to write in that format. This one I wrote several years ago, Love Poems from Aquarius. That's my wife on the front page. This was from 2012 when my daughter was 7. Wooden spoon. I cook with a plain wooden spoon that has faint colors and circular patterns faded around its handle. There's nothing unique about it, but I would not consider cooking any soup or stew without this utensil. It was a gift, a silly thing, made by my child in 2nd grade, not meant for anything special, once brightly colored in vegetable dyes. First used the evening she gave it to me. She left the table raving how tasty the food became since her spoon helped to cook. Brilliant dyes have long ago faded, yet it has an essential place in the preparation of every dish that calls for a stirring of love. This, I believe, you can realize with my wife's passion. It's impossible not to be in love with you in Venetian Isles. These poems span years, including some that were written when I was a teenager and a little bit older. Then I have 2 prose books, Better Half and Finding Freedom, A Journey. After 30 years in law, I finally wrote a book I'd done an outline for about 8 years beforehand, about 5 couples. Every one of them is a relationship with a different problem. One that's abusive, one that has drugs, one where there's a lot of cheating, one where they just can't commit. The ego is talking now, one where they just got it right. These are based on the actions I've seen by clients. And over the years, this is what I've gathered from what people are doing. The ones that got it right were my wife and I, which is ironic, we did divorce. But it resolves their issues in various ways, some not the best of ways. It's kind of a book about you can take what you've got and you can do better with it. But it takes you making that change to be able to accomplish it. This is a journal about when I hitchhiked from Chattanooga, Tennessee to San Francisco and back, and everything that happened along the way. But the events, they're all real, it all really happened. And that's really me on the front at the age when it happened. So that book is about this person's journey to freedom and finding out that freedom was where he was a year ago. I have 4 other books that are in various stages of completion. one that continues this story, and 3 poetry books.